entire world is being really smart.
Welcome to Smart as Sexy, the podcast where we discuss self-development, love, business, spirituality, and becoming a smarter, sexier human. I am your host, Kelsi.
And I'm Celeste. Welcome to our show, everyone. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe, leave us a review, and send to a friend. Today, we have a really special guest. He's one of our good friends. He's also the VP of A&R for Atlantic Records. We're so excited to introduce Keefa. Thank you for being here today.
I wish I had one of those little things that you could
Yeah.
Press the button, slap the button. No, thank you for having me.
We are so excited to talk to you.
I feel honored to be in the hot seat right now.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been a long time coming. So
Keefa and I have been friends for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Like one of my longest friendships in LA.
Wow.
2016, 15?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
You saw Kelsi's party girl days.
Kinda. She saw my like, there's some guy asleep in the back of Warwick, like outside. Can we get him out of here? Like, but yes. We would sneak Kelsi and randomly run from the door to come take some shots.
I don't think you had to try very hard because there was a time frame in her life where she had her party girl phase.
Now I'm over here. I'm like, can I get a mocktail?
Yeah, seriously, a water would be great.
An espresso.
Well, I'm so excited to hear your story because I've actually never heard it. And Kels was trying to tell me, and I was like, don't tell me. I want to hear it on camera in the studio. So we're excited to get into that.
Done.
Yeah,
No,
but before we do that,
we start off every single episode with Good News Minute. It's just something that you share that you're excited about, that is going good in your life. It can be work, personal, whatever.
Good news minute. I've been hella just locked in on myself and just like putting myself first, doing first for myself before I spend the rest of my day like doing for everybody else. I'm down 25 pounds since my birthday in March. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So that's
Do you
like
feel good?
Yeah, I feel amazing.
so does that mean when you say you're putting yourself first, that means your morning is just for you?
My morning is for me. I don't really pick up the phone until after I like go to the gym or go hike. And I'm up early too, so it's not like I'm not answering until 2-3 in the afternoon. But I just have to go like just lock in for at least 2 hours before I go do anything.
Yeah.
So that's been like, and I've just noticed my patterns in my day becoming healthier and just like my decision making is less cloudy and shit. So yeah.
Are you like not drinking also? Okay.
I'm sure it's
I
really
might have had
hard.
some drinks last night.
Okay. I was just like, I know
Yeah.
that a lot of people that we've been talking to are like starting to kind of like pull off alcohol.
Yeah.
There's like a trend of like pulling off alcohol.
absolutely.
So.
It's just like, well, after a certain period of time, it's like we cannot keep going the way we've
How
been
many
going.
bottles of Casamigos can we drink?
No, literally. Yeah, no, it's like we gotta move.
Yeah.
We have to evolve.
Yeah.
There's a time, there's a season for everything.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But definitely less drinking though, like more just like a weekend. But
Yeah.
it's just hard because I'm in the studio so much. So it's like we'll be in the studio and it's a creative environment. So it's like we're creating, make some music that we're excited about. And it's like, oh, next thing you know, bottles pop up, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Out of
So,
nowhere.
yeah, out of
they
nowhere.
just show up.
Like, how did this get here?
On a Tuesday.
That's too funny. Okay, well, I'm going to come back to that after our Good News Minutes because I want to talk more about that. What's yours, Kel?
Okay, well, my Good News Minute is so lame, but I just, actually, Man's mom gave me this it's called the Moon Juice Super U vitamins because I've just been so stressed out and I will do anything these days to like help me de-stress and like be a healthier version of myself. So I got these vitamins that have like ashwagandha in it and like 18 other things, but it's just really supposed to help. Also, it's supposed to help with like your skin when you're stressed out, specifically your skin, which I could use a lot of help with because it's just been a rough.
They should have sponsored this because that's
Literally.
like a really good, like say less because I'm going to need them to.
Tap in.
I'm going to need them to cut the check because you're like really promoting this.
It's honestly, I've noticed a huge difference in my mood since taking it. I'm going to give it 2 weeks and see how it goes. And then if this really is helping, then these will be on subscription.
I love it. You glowing skin on point right now.
Yeah, see, we love that. Okay, fire. Love that for you. I might have to try them once they sponsor the pod. Okay, mine is that we're expanding to Vegas this summer, so that's really exciting. We've actually done like one event in Vegas, I think, but for some reason we started getting hit up more and more for Vegas, so now we're actually building a team out there slowly. And we have a couple events out there, and we have some Vegas Viper girls, Viper Vegas. So that's a big one for us. Expansion.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Little Viper getting bigger.
Love to see it.
Okay. So you are the VP of A&R for Atlantic. You're also day-to-day with Roddy Rich.
Yep. Correct.
Okay. I'm going to need you to explain what A&R is because I barely know.
I don't know anything.
I know, like, when someone says A&R, I know that's music, but I don't know what that means.
So you work in music.
Yeah.
That's
Honestly,
good. That's good for you.
Listen, my mom still walks in my house, and she'll still ask me, like, so what exactly do you do? Like, to this day, and it's just like, all I can do is laugh because she has no idea either. But A&R is basically an A&R for a music label. Your responsibility is to find talent, find artists. You're like a scout. Okay. Find talent. You sign them and you develop them. So it's like artist development. So you're basically the liaison between the artist and the record label. So between the artist and the label, the A&R is the point person for the artist who, if the artist wants to go in the studio with live musicians, he's like, yo, I need a piano player. I need a upright, you know what I mean? Bass, whatever the artist needs, that your job is to facilitate that. Collaborations, if they're like, yo, I want to, we should, it's just like a big, it's like a web of just anything that the artist needs. Like the A&R's job is to do that. Your job is to take the artist, develop them, and essentially deliver the music to the label. So you come up with the album, the singles, and then deliver it to the label. And you're just kind of like, the in-between person between them two.
Got it. Thank you for explaining that because I have never known.
I had no idea.
In layman's terms, it's like it's like, did you play sports in high school? Yeah. What'd you play?
Volleyball.
Okay. So like if you're like a setter or, you have a specific coach that coaches you for that.
Yes.
So it's like,
got it.
That's like in hindsight, like you're responsible for this artist.
Got it.
So developing them, and just helping them be successful all around.
Got it. And then so when you are day to day with Roddy, that's more like, because you guys are also, I feel like I don't see one of you without the other. Like you guys are, so what is that? Is that a little different?
So it's the situation is a little more unique because I found Roddy when I was an intern. So I was interning at Atlantic.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This is where it gets so exciting.
Wait, what? Hold on. Tell us about this. Is very interesting. Okay, so wait, you were an intern, and then how did that happen?
I was an intern like into 2017, and I was interning under a guy named Dallas Martin, who's the senior vice president now of Atlantic. But basically, it was an unpaid internship under the table. He's like, yo, look, I'll get you set up with a cubicle. I'll set you up an email. Every Friday we'll have a meeting. Play me 10 beats that you think are tight, and you know what I mean. If you hear some artist that you think is tight, just come play it for me. And so that was it. It wasn't like, oh, in 6 months we get a job. It was just like, and for me, I wanted so eagerly to be in the building. I didn't care. I'll sweep the floors. I didn't care at all.
Yeah, we did the
what
same.
Year was this?
This was like end of 2017.
Okay. Yeah.
So I got the internship at Atlantic, and my first week there, I came across Roddy's music. He was making music with like some of the kids who grew up in my neighborhood where I grew up at. So I just heard him on some music with some other people. And like when I heard him, I just, dug into it a little bit. And he had just put a mixtape out that was called Feed the Streets. It wasn't 1, 2, it was just the first one. It was his first mixtape. And I heard the whole mixtape, and I went in the office to Dallas, and I'm like, yo, like, I just played it for him my first week in the office. And then he's like, you know him? I'm like, yeah. I didn't know him at the time. I was just lying. I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, cool. Like, you can use the studio. So you can use the studio in North Hollywood. Get him in the studio. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm like, now the process starts. I'm DMing them. I'm like, yo, what's up? Your music. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I'm interning.
And at this time, was Roddy like popping or like?
No. So at this time, he probably had like 4,000 followers at this time.
Oh, wow.
Like nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like,
this is nuts.
Yeah, this was like
crazy.
Yeah. So I think I might have had like 7,000, 8,000 followers. So it was like when I DM'd him, he's like, yo, hit my manager up. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, manager, like,
yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
up and coming artists is like what
Yeah,
manager,
yeah.
but he was like he went cold on me for like 2 weeks, and he finally messaged me back. He sent me his number. He's like, yo, he's like, here's my number. I'm like, yo, look, we got a studio in North Hollywood. I got some beats to play for you. Worst case, you know what I mean? Like, let's link. You get a free studio session. You know, if nothing
Right.
happens from it, and you know, shit, best case scenario, we're here today.
Right.
But-
Wait, that's insane. So you guys just clicked and
Yeah,
vibed and
yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
God,
no, like, yeah, we grew up, he grew up in Compton, I grew up in Carson, so we grew up like a stoplight separates,
Right,
you know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
of course. So for anyone listening, for anyone in our audience, Roddy Rich is like one of the biggest rappers today. So like the impact of this story for anyone who doesn't listen to like rap music is really
Yeah,
insane. I mean,
yeah.
he's like,
I know who Roddy Rich is, and I don't.
that says a
listen to
lot.
Yeah.
She does not listen to any of that.
We got
no, but
Kels.
like his,
Didn't he win a Grammy for The Box?
yeah, his
Nominated.
Not for the box. We won a Grammy for a song with Nipsey Hussle called Racks in the Middle.
Okay.
So
But-
I
See,
mean,
look at
the
me,
impact
going-
of this
Yeah,
story, though, like
but yeah.
because he became literally one of the
Yeah.
biggest rappers. Like
Yeah.
it's really insane
Really
to just
insane.
hear
Yeah.
like the background of it. So did you know that you were gonna you wanted to be in music because you said you would have swept the floors?
Yeah. I've always loved music. I grew up in music. My dad, when I was growing up, and even before I was born, my dad, he used to run Death Row Records back in the day.
Okay.
So he was like Suge Knight's right hand. He was also like, he was the A&R at Death Row as well. So he signed artists there. I watched him, cut a lot of checks. And so just growing up, since I was born in 94. So these were like the years of like Death Row, Tupac, when it was like the shit was in its.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
being in LA.
Yeah, and being in LA. So I just, I watched my dad. He was the type, like, he wouldn't go to the office until he picked me up from school. Like, I didn't have babysitters. So I would be in the office with him every day at the office at Death Row, right off San Vicente, right after preschool, like all the way up until 3rd, 4th grade. So I think just growing up in that environment so much, I was in studios with my dad late, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. My mom's cussing him out like, he's 5 years old, bring my son home.
And you're probably hyped. You're like, this is so
I have,
cool.
yeah, I got all the
going
energy.
Yeah.
I've got all the energy in the world. So it's like, but at the time I also didn't really know what was going on. I was so young, and it was just, that's all I knew. So it was just second nature,
Right. Oh my God, I need the baby pic.
Yeah.
I need
Oh
to see
yeah.
it.
Straight up.
We need to put that in the photo.
In the
dump.
photo
Yeah.
dump,
I
yeah.
have a crazy one. So, but as I got older, since a kid, I was just groomed around music. I was listening to it all day. So I think my love for music just comes from being a child and just being surrounded by it my whole life. And then just seeing also what can come from it too, like none of it's guaranteed. It's all a hustle. And, opportunities are endless. It's something that you can change the world with and through. And that's just important to me. It's just like trying to make a difference while we're here. So.
And you have because when I first met you, this was not what you were doing. There was a lot of partying going on.
Yeah.
But then there was a period of time where it was like no one had seen Keefa for a while because
Yeah.
he had his head down and he was grinding.
Yeah.
He wasn't going out. And if he made an appearance at the club, it was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Pulling
whoa,
up,
what are
yeah.
you doing
No,
here?
yeah.
It was a huge time for him to kind of come up.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that part of a lot of stories. Like they see the glamour and the glitz, but they forget the times when you have to lock in and sacrifice everything.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Hold on. Before we come back to that though, you said your dad was in the industry, but then you said you were an intern. So did you not have connections?
I
Did
knew
you,
so my dad's been in prison since 2005.
Oh, okay.
So he went to prison when I was young. He's coming home in 2 years.
Oh,
we
that's
still
not-
talk every day. That's my best. That's
amazing.
my best friend. But I say that to say after he went away, I got into sports and all that, and I was just kind of living a regular childhood life. And so I knew a lot of people through being with him from a kid, but it was many years of me growing up through middle school, high school, and stuff where how I actually got back into music was. I actually was rapping in high school. I was like, you know what, I'm about to rap.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Because I knew some of these people from my dad. So I'm like, okay, if I'm doing music, these people, you know, they know they'll, you know, but it didn't really work out like that. But who I was able to like keep a really, really close relationship with through the whole time while my dad was gone was, you know, rest his soul, Nipsey Hussle. He was like a big brother and a mentor to me. My dad kind of raised him in the music while he was coming up. You know, my dad was already doing the music, and when he was significantly age difference, so it was like my dad kind of raised him, so he kept me around and just was like, you know, I don't know what it is, but I see you as an asset for my company that I'm building. He's like, so just he just had me, he's like, every day just come pull up on me at the studio in North Hollywood. I was driving from Orange County, North Hollywood every day just to be in the studio.
Wow.
So, and that's actually how I got my internship, was through Nipsey. He did a partnership with Atlantic, and the guy, Dallas Martin, who he was doing the partnership with, who was his A&R, Nipsey introduced me. He's like, yo, look, this is my little brother. He's like, if you need a runner, a sweeper, whatever you need, like, he's here, you know? And I have, my ear was to the music, obviously. So that was like how I end up getting the internship. It wasn't like something I applied for. I was just.
But you still worked for it. Like, you may have had connections, but I mean, you did the work.
For
it's
sure,
very clear.
Yeah.
Like,
no, definitely,
There's a lot of people, especially in Los Angeles,
they get it
have
handed
like the
to
Nepo
them.
babies. It's like, you can get it handed, but you still have to put in the work in order to
Everything,
make those contacts into something.
Yeah. 100%.
Snoop Dogg told me years ago. I always used to think it was like, well, if it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? And I used to believe that forever. And then I was talking to Snoop one day, and he goes, but if I take you to who you need to know and you don't know what you need to know, then it's useless. Yeah.
Great
so
point.
it's like, you can know all these people, but if you're not ready and you don't know what you want to get out of whatever you're, you know, looking to accomplish, then you'll be just sitting stagnant. So I used to think forever. I was like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's like,
I like that.
Yeah.
It really does go hand in hand.
It's both.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
So through all of this, like, now you're here and you are very much in a place where you are surrounded by celebrities and really, really important people.
The fast life.
Like, you are in the fast life.
Yeah.
What are some things, like, we talk a lot about spirituality on the podcast. What are some things that you do to kind of keep yourself grounded for yourself? You said you started this new morning routine. Is there any spiritual practices within that for you? Or?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I have a really close relationship with God, first of all. Like, all glory to God every day. I think life is, we like overlook the simplest things in life, just as like being able, like, I can get up and walk out of this house. I can go get in my car and go drive to the store, you know, like, I don't take anything for granted. And I think that's come from, like, I've lost a lot of people in my life, whether it be death or jail. And so that's just humbled and grounded me all the way and just made me appreciate things more. So, like, spiritually, you have to be in tune with yourself to be able to appreciate these things, or every time something bad happens, you'll just find a reason to make it worse. And I feel like, you know, the mind is a powerful place, and it's like the more control you have over your mind and your thoughts, like, the more powerful you are. And so for me, maintaining the industry with again, like, for me, it's like, no phone. I'm going to go hike. I don't want to, you know, like, time to talk to myself. Like, sometimes I'll sit at home for an hour and I'll just turn everything off and I'll just sit on the couch and I'll just sit in silence. Like, and that, it's just little things like that, you know, like, I feel like, I try not to indulge too much into, like, just separating, or like, you need to take this much time. It's just whenever I can find those windows, I recognize them for what they are, and I utilize that time, you know?
I would say that's probably a big key to your success, because there's a lot of people who can't sit by themselves. And there's a lot of people who, you know, like, I feel like in order to survive in this industry, I mean, we're not the music industry, but we're a close industry. Yeah. To survive, like, you have to know yourself. Yeah. You have to be comfortable spending time alone. Quite frankly, I don't know how people don't spend time alone.
No, because I do think if you don't spend time and you don't know yourself, you'll
get spit up, swallowed out.
Yourself and
spit out.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have seen it for years, even in LA. The music, entertainment, it's all the same shit. It all comes because what drags us all in is nightlife. That's like our common ground.
Yeah,
where
we always
all
say
meet,
that.
You know? So
Yeah.
regardless of what actor, sports, nightlife brings us all together,
Yep.
and that's the shit that spins you around.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's not even the industry, it's the shit around the industry that you do.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think to your point, like, I feel like if you don't have a good understanding of yourself and just morals and values in anything you do, like, you'll get chewed up and spit out.
And I like hearing that because I think there's probably a lot of kids that follow you or like they follow Roddy and they see your lifestyle and they want it. I have no doubt about it. But I like you saying that because I think they need to know that too.
Yeah.
That's like an important other side of this world. Yeah, it might be bottles and women and, you know, whatever. We all know how it goes. But like there's also, that's equally as important.
Yeah, for sure. It's everything because... I mean, there's a lot of evil out there, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of evil out there. Like, we can't deny that. And so how does one stay grounded and you know, focused in a world full of distractions? You know, there has to be some sort of spiritual aligning there to make it through, because if you're not aligned with yourself, you know, some things might get you emotional. Some things might make you mad, piss you off, get you out of character. And for every action's a reaction. So sometimes those reactions are detrimental, you know, and you're out of character because of something that, you know, you could have been in control of, but you let other people, you know, take you out your element. So you have to be aligned up here.
No, and I agree with that. I think when you don't know who you are, you then get confused with where you're supposed to be going.
Yep.
And then you start being like, oh, maybe I should do this, or maybe I should be like this person. And then you completely have lost sight of your own path and what like God had planned for you.
And I feel like that's
Completely
just so
agree.
easy in LA.
It is.
Like, it is
I think so many
easy.
people move here to like make it, but along with making it, you have to also like find who you are.
100%.
And that is challenging when there's a lot of money and bottles and glamour being thrown around, and that's all great, but if you're not grounded,
100%.
Well, it's just
you're
like,
floating all over the place.
what is making it? I feel like that's a part of people come here and want to make it, and they don't even know what are you trying to make?
True.
What is it? What are you trying to make? And that's where you start. You know, people don't even know that. They're just like, oh, LA, I want to. And, you know, people find out real quick. Most of the people I've met here in the past few years all have the same story. I packed up my car, drove across country here from Ohio.
Everyone's from Ohio.
And I'm here, you know? Like,
Everyone's from Ohio.
I swear, I'm like, there are more Ohioans
than LA. No,
Like,
truly,
what?
everyone is from Ohio. No, that's a really good point. And I think on that note, like there are probably more that want to move here, and there's probably a lot that look up to you and they want a lifestyle like you. What would you tell those kids that are aspiring for that? Like any advice that you would give them?
I would just say, again, know what it is you want out of any situation and put yourself in position to be successful.
Yeah.
You can save yourself a lot of time and hurdles if you're overly prepared for whatever it is that you're trying to step into.
Yeah.
For sure.
Damn. I think about that looking back too, because I'm like, I feel like we really did our best to prepare ourselves, and I feel like that is why we got to where we are, because like we worked in nightlife, so it could have seemed from the outside looking in that there was like blurry lines, which you know that like a lot of it's blurry.
Yeah.
But I feel like you and I really did, like we worked overtime to do our research or know who we were meeting with or know what we wanted out of a situation. We also played a lot of chess. So we'd be like, we need to meet so-and-so for it to go there, for it to go there, for it to go there. We need to get, over there. That was like a big thing that we did,
for sure.
right? So
and now in like year 7, now I'm like refiguring things out all over again.
Yeah, well, there's like an evolution process. Like you figure out the first few years of quote unquote making it. But then on year 5, it changes.
It's
100%.
a whole new way of figuring out what the next step is. Because like now you've made the contacts. Now you've made it to what you thought the goal was.
Yeah.
Okay, well now what's the next goal?
Now what?
Yeah. 100%.
Definitely.
So that goal keeps changing. So what is like for you, what does that goal look like? Like your version of making it?
Oh man. Honestly, just being able to just provide for my family and make a difference. Like like you say, like when people come up to me or I get messages from people and like they tell me how my story has inspired them and it makes them, and it's made them want to go do these things or set out to, you know, like follow my footsteps, whatever that is. Like that's for me, like I get off on that, you know. It's not, I don't think there's like there's no house or car or amount of money that I could make that be like, oh, this is like,
right.
That's, you know, that's a moving target. I just feel like
100%.
you know, my impact and like the legacy, like just being able to know I inspire people, you know. Like you can't take any of this with you, so it's like
True.
being able to go to sleep at night feeling fulfilled, you know, and knowing that we're making a difference out here, you know, in a positive way.
No, for sure. It's like we were talking about earlier. I was like, when I'm 90, like,
yes,
what do you want to look back on in your life, and what are the moments that you're going to be the most proud of, or what are the things and the people that you're going to be the most happy that you brought into the world? Like those are
true.
Those are the moments. And I right now and in the city, you get so caught up in like just having things and money in the car and all of that stuff. But then at the end of it, like you said, you can't take this with you.
Can't take it. I'll go blow that car up right now.
No, you know, and I think the other thing is too, like, okay, so we come from like super humble beginnings. So when you make your first like 100K, like that's life changing if you come from being broke.
Hell yeah.
But after a certain point, after that 200K, whatever, it doesn't change your life anymore because you already have access.
No.
You already have the house. You already have the car. You already have, could you get a bigger one? Sure.
Yeah.
Could you deck out the car more? Sure.
Yeah.
Could you buy more instant access? Sure.
Yeah, can you have more clothes, more for sure. You
But
can
it
have all
doesn't,
more.
It doesn't like that jump from being broke to being like, oh, I can pay. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like there's like a certain middle ground until you reach like that next big threshold where it's like your life doesn't change that much, you know?
Like,
so
can
then,
I have good health care?
Yeah.
That's
you know? And so
up.
then I think at that point is when you start realizing like, okay, so now what's the purpose? You know, because it's like now it's like it's not really. Before it's like I just want to be able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, well now I'm like, now I have all that.
Yeah.
So now what? You know,
Yeah.
and then you start asking yourself like,
temptation.
why do I do what I do?
No,
you know?
no, absolutely.
Like-
I completely agree.
I ask myself that all the time. I'll just sit there and just be like, what is life?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No,
This
it is
shit,
true. Keefa, the
it's so
philosopher said, "What is life?" And no, but you are right. You're sitting. There are some days as you're getting older, you're like, "Okay, what am I?" I was actually thinking this other day. I was like, "Am I a good person? Like, am I?" And like, what is the definition of that to
Right,
myself?
yeah.
Like,
Right.
am I someone that I'm like? Am I kind? Am I loyal? Do I go out of my way to do things for others that don't have as much as me?
Yeah.
Like what is a good person?
Yeah.
And am I embodying that in my day-to-day life?
Right.
And if
Yeah.
I'm not, then what am I need to choose
Yeah.
one thing a day that I am
Right.
doing something
Yep.
that I am a good person and I
Yeah.
can feel good about myself
Yeah.
when I look in the mirror.
Yeah.
That
So I like
it
that.
was-
The what is
no,
life?
yeah.
I'm like, man, what is a
Yeah.
good person?
See, you hit that threshold
Yeah.
and then you start
Yeah.
wondering. Because before that, you're just trying to eat. Like up until you hit that mark. And I know like you
More
understand
money,
that.
more problems.
Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you, that shit does not. You think it solves everything?
No.
It just brings a whole. You know, like it's like okay, it's like in school. You learn like multiplication, right?
Mm-hmm.
You learn subtraction, division. Cool. Oh, I know math. Now it's long division.
Exactly.
Now it's, you know what I mean? It's like there's
Yeah.
still so many more.
moves.
It's
just
not
moves.
like this is just the one
Yeah.
all and it's it. Like,
It's so true too, because even we last year we got hit with like our first lawsuit, and like you know that's something that I feel like it comes with the territory as you kind of like. I hate this term, but like for lack of a better word, as you boss up, you open yourself up to
Yeah.
more like threats and shit like that. So we
Yeah.
got hit with our first lawsuit and we were super stressed out. And it's like, those are the things you don't realize. Like you think,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to make it to a certain point and I'm going to be fine. But it's like, that's going to come with its own set of
Yeah.
new problems.
Yes.
That was like what I took from that.
No, for sure.
Listen, I'd never even. Yeah, you're right. Like 10 years ago, if you would have told me like, are you gonna be paying 6 figures in taxes in the next 5 years? Like, you know, first of all, it's money I don't even have. Then, you know what I mean? I'm like, how can you pay that much in taxes? I don't even. Where's the money even gonna come from to
Yeah.
to be able to pay that? And then it's like when it happens, it's like I've learned this, right? Like the more you make money, it's not like, oh, you're just rich, you have money. It's like your lifestyle changes. So, you know, your lifestyle's more expensive. The more money
Yeah.
you make, you know, you want to get a nicer place. You know, you get a nicer car. you know, your taste buds a little different now. You know, you wanna go get the caviar. You know, you want the caviar and the extra truffle. Like, we got time today. So it's not like you start to make more money and just sitting on money. Like, it's the money's still going the same way it was when you were making less money because you're maintaining the lifestyle. So I learned that too. It's like, it's not just like, oh, you make more money and just sitting on all this money. It's like, no, bills are coming.
Yeah, the bills are just more.
Yeah, they're more.
Yeah, that's 100%.
You're like, so I'm still working to eat.
Yeah,
I just am
literally.
differently.
100%.
I'm just eating caviar.
No, and that was the thing we learned too, because neither of us grew up with that. Like, we didn't come from like rich parents or have any sort of like understanding. So that was a lesson we learned the hard way. We were like, oh wait, like we still have to. It's the same margin.
Yeah.
It's just it's just more luxury, you know, which I'm grateful for, of course. But then you get up there and you're like, okay, wait, it's a little different than, you know, what you see on social media. There's still like a hustle to it.
No, for sure. So earlier we were like kind of just like started talking about, before we ever even started the pod, we were talking about you in high school, and I want to hear a little bit about because you are somewhat, you're LA born and raised. Like
my whole life.
Where was that? Like you were 5 years old, sleeping in the studio.
Yeah,
but I want to hear about like after like high school and the grind, that like, because a lot of the work ethic will come from that too.
Yeah.
So it all kind of happened around the same time. Like, my dad went to jail when I was in middle school. And then my mom she was in a bad car accident when I was going into 8th grade. My mom got hit by a drunk driver who ran a red light while she was walking across the street to her car. And the lady was elderly. She was like 70 years old. No. So, and it was late at night. My mom had left. She's, I'm going to go pick up like your cousin. I'm like, all right, cool. Like 3 hours goes by. I'm like, where the fuck is she? Like, you know what I mean? It's raining outside. Another hour, my auntie comes and picks me up. And she's just crying. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, what? And she's telling me in the car, she's like, she's gone. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? She's like, my auntie just crying hysterically. I'm in the back seat. We're just going to the hospital, but I didn't know where we're going. She's just like, she's gone. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's going on? So your mom got hit by a car. I was like, what? And we go to the hospital, and basically, the lady ran the light, hit her. They lost her pulse for like 15 minutes. They came back when they were pulling up to the hospital.
Holy shit.
Her pulse came back, but like from the accident, my mom was in a coma for like 3 months. They said she was gonna be brain dead forever, never make a full recovery. Like,
and this was at the point that your dad was already?
This is right after he went to jail. My dad went to jail.
Holy shit.
My mom gets in this accident. I'm going into 8th grade, so it's like right before I'm getting into high school.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so all this shit happens. The doctors are like, yeah, it's, you know, she didn't remember she woke up out of the coma. And then for like a year, she ended up making a full recovery. It took her like almost 3 years. But in the process of that, I played football growing up. So I was playing youth football, and one of my teammates, his dad, was like, hey, you know, we're all getting ready for high school next year. He's like, I'm sending, my friend's name is Clark. He's like, I'm sending Clark to this school in Orange County. You know, it's a private school, but, you know, I'll get you a meeting with them, you know, your story. He's like, I want to, you know, he wanted to help me out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, cool. So at this time, like, I had nothing. Like, I was just like, I was just confused on everything. I didn't know what was going on in life. I was staying with my grandma. And so he got me an interview with the school. I went and talked to him, and they ended up giving me a scholarship. The school's like $15,000 a year. So they ended up paying for me to go to school there. Yeah, this is where I met Robbie. So this was the school. So they ended up paying for me to go to school there. So, and at this time, I needed a change. Like, I was already going down the wrong path. I had went to jail in 8th grade on my mom's birthday, like right before her accident. Like 2 months before her accident, I went to jail. Like, got caught selling weed at school, just doing dumb shit. Like, but it was just the environment I was in was just to me, that was just life. You know,
it was normal. 100%.
I didn't think anything of it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So. But I was going down the wrong path. You know, my dad had already went to jail, so I'm like kind of just in this place of like, you know, I'm on like being a rebel. Yeah. And the shit happened with my mom, so they're like, yeah, they accepted me into the school, and I went to go. The family's like, yo, you can. We have an extra room at our place, like, and they took me in. Mm-hmm. So I went and I actually lived with them for my first 2 years of high school. 9th and 10th grade, I lived in Orange County with them. So my mom was in the hospital this whole time, recovering. I'm going to go visit her on the weekends and stuff. And my aunt, my mom's sister, she came down from Oakland and was like taking care of all our bills and stuff. And just, she was like stepping in for my mom while my mom was in the hospital. And so that's kind of how it all started. So like I was in high school. Now I'm in Orange County now. So now I'm in Orange County, completely different life from what I'm used to in LA. Like, never had been around, white people before. I grew up in a predominantly Black and Hispanic, area in the hood. My school, it was like, that just wasn't
Yeah, now
thing.
you're in Orange County.
Now I'm in
It's a
Orange
change,
County around like private school. These kids got real money. They pulling up in Audis and shit. Like, I'm like, oh, this is real. And, but it changed my life forever though. I'm super thankful for it. But, so that's how I ended up in Orange County. And when I got out there, I just was kind of like, I kind of got to just kind of reset a little bit. So it was like, I left all my old habits back at home. I like was just changing because I wanted a change because I had so much bad negative shit going on in my life. I was looking for a reason to, get out of that. And so it was like when I was out there, like nothing from back home even existed. It was a whole nother world. So I was able to just find a lot of peace out there. But so I was playing football in high school. My mom ended up like making a full recovery, like going into junior year. She's like, it's time to move back home. So I moved back home. She bought me a car, 96 Oldsmobile. We bought it for $1,200. And I was driving that shit from Long Beach to Mission Viejo every day.
Holy shit.
Every day. Before that, I got the car, I was on the bus 4:30 in the morning, taking the bus all the way down La Palma for 2 hours.
That is crazy.
And
then going back
to Orange and get on another bus. It was just like, but it wasn't crazy to me because I was excited. It was like I got there and it was like, I'm in a whole new place now.
Right.
And so so high school, I was doing music in high school. I was playing football. I was doing music. That's when I kind of started getting back into like, all right, like, what else can I do?
Right.
I started getting into music and I was rapping and it was just, it was fun. Everybody was kind of doing their own thing at this time. And so high school goes, I graduate high school. I end up getting a scholarship to Northern Arizona to go play football. That didn't work out. I went first semester, got kicked off the team, got arrested in Arizona. I was like, I'm out of here.
Shit.
Yeah. Like, felt like a fight. It wasn't even anything crazy. It was a fight, but it was in a dorm room, and out there they're like, well, you're in somebody's dorm, so it's trespassing.
Oh.
And
okay.
since Arizona is like stand your ground, trespassing is a felony. So they're like, this is a felony offense. I'm like,
Jesus Christ. You're like, it's
fight in the
college.
dorm room. Like,
I'm
what?
in a fight.
We're basically kids. We get in fights all the time.
Yeah, for real.
I'm like, this shit's way too serious out here. So I got kicked off the team. So I packed my bags and came home, and I didn't tell my mom at all. So I came home for winter break. My mom thinks I'm still at school, and I'm really down the street. And I'm like lying to her for like 6 months. I'm like, oh yeah, school's good. The whole time I'm like, I'm back home.
Yeah.
I went back to Orange County. But I was just trying to figure out like what my next move was.
Right.
And then, the music was just kind of always consistent through high school and everything. So it was like, I just kind of like, from making music to putting people together, like was always like my, like a good quality that I've had is getting the right people in the room together. And so from making music, I was like, it was fun, but that wasn't my end all be all. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be the best rapper. Like, I just was rapping for fun, but I was better at putting the right people in the rooms together. Which led to like me getting back around, the Nipseys and the Snoops and just kind of like facilitating. And it just gave me hope. I'm like, okay, like they see me as, value to what they're doing. Like maybe I should just stay on this path. And that's kind of just how I started rolling into the music more and just taking it serious.
That story is insane. Like your story's crazy. I'm waiting for your memoir. I'm gonna be the first person to read it.
Yeah, you need to like keep a journal so you can like remember like the
100%.
No, I've got
certain
it.
things.
I love. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I love seeing your posts on Instagram too when you do talk about those things because like I feel like you said you're very grateful every day, but I feel like you actually mean it. Like a lot of people say that they're but I feel like you actually mean it. And now that I hear your story, I'm like, oh, I understand.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like people overcomplicate life. It's simple. Like, happiness is a moving target. Just keep chasing it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I love that. Okay. So a big part of our show that our viewers love is whenever we talk about dating. And this is the thing. So we have a lot of female listeners, but we actually have a really big male audience too. So the questions that we get a lot are like, especially from someone like you who really is in that scene, the girls are gonna want to know like what you look for in a girl.
Let's go.
Like the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to give us some tea.
Let's
because
go.
like the girlies need the secret.
Yeah, because you are very much in the
Hot girl summer on the way. I got y'all. Come on.
This is the thing too. This is the other thing. A lot of women, they want to like settle down, and they obviously want to date somebody like you because you're successful. You know
Never
what I mean?
settle.
You have a personality. You have all the things that like women are looking for. So we need the tea. We need to know what you look for in a woman.
I'm
We need what's important to you.
Tell me more, Celeste.
Well, they want the secret. So what's important to you? Like, what do you look for in like when you're dating?
Oh man. First and foremost, teeth and toes. Teeth
You know
and
what?
feet.
Thank you for saying that because we wanted a real answer. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. Always got a feet check real quick. Always.
100%.
No, but when looking for someone to date, I think something that's really important to me is, and I think it goes back to what we talk about with like, it's just like getting into a profession, right? Like someone who knows themselves, you know, or even if you don't, like you're trying to understand yourself and not just like date to go through the motions. Like I think settling is the worst thing you could do. You know, like dating it's a partnership and it's a bond, and it's like you have to find someone who is the balance to you. You know, if you're always high, someone that doesn't do anything and is low just might be perfect for you. If you're always low, you might need somebody that's always full of energy. So I just feel like it's a yin and yang thing, but just someone you just got to know who you are. Like a lot of people don't know who they are and they're still searching. There's nothing wrong with that because we can both be on the path searching together.
Absolutely.
But committed to that and not just saying it.
Right.
You know, like I feel like we say these things a lot, but actually meaning it.
Yeah.
I don't date for like looks and shit no more. Like, oh, that's a bad. I don't like. Because
But let me ask you something, because I think this is a common. If you ask any of the girls like we talked to, they would probably look at your life and be like, "There's no way that he's interested in like a loyal relationship." They would assume that because they know that you have endless options, traveling,
access to women all over the world, realistically, because you do a lot of traveling right now.
So
For
can
sure.
you confirm or deny this statement? Would you be interested? Like, do you even want
definitely, yeah, for sure. I feel like that's the goal with all of this, right? Like, because all of this shit can get real gray, you know, all this whole lifestyle shit and all the career that can get real gray. So it's like when all the smoke and mirrors clear and the lights turn off, like you want to go back home and again have that balance, you know, like the relationship should be that balance of like what you don't have. Like all this shit is cool, but I want to come home to, you know, like something that's for me,
right?
You know, all that shit out there. It's around you, but it's not for you. It's just there.
Right.
It's there for you, but it's not for you. Like at home, that's for you. You know? And I feel like your relationship in the house versus what you do outside and work is like should be two completely different worlds. Like I'm not gonna get out of my relationship what I get out of my work and vice versa. So I feel like for me, I can answer for me personally, yes. I'm 29 now, so definitely not getting any younger. And I come from a broken home too, so I feel like for me, like I want everything that I didn't have growing up. You know, like I seen, you know, the pros and cons of both parents, and then you know the splitting up. So for me, I think that's really important. Like I want to raise a family. I want kids, all with the same person, no baby mamas, none of that shit. Like we're not doing that, you know? So it's like not rushing into that, you know? And I think it just takes time. I feel like we live in a world now where like dating 30 years ago is much different than now. Like you used to have to call, not even 30, like when we were kids growing up, like you just have to call the house and like the mom or the dad answers. You say, oh, can I talk to, you know?
Yeah.
Hold on, you know, doing homework. She'll call you back.
Yeah,
like,
the home
you had-
phone.
yeah,
the
you had to
landline,
go.
Yeah.
Even like rom-coms that I used to watch, like there's a movie like He's Just Not That Into You, and in the movie I was watching it the other day, he had to call and leave a message on her voicemail, and then she had to call her voicemail to see if she got any messages. I was like,
That's so
I don't
hard.
remember this movie being that
so
old.
hard, yeah.
And now it's like everything is so instant. Like if you don't get a response right away,
Yeah.
or like who even leaves a voicemail?
Yeah,
anymore?
nobody.
Like, no one. You just
Yeah.
either call and like wait for someone to call you back. But no, it is so different. And I think even in Los Angeles, it's so different because I think obviously dating apps are everywhere, but I think people heavily rely on dating apps just because the lack of intimacy in the city. If that makes sense. It's not,
Dating in LA is tough.
You know why?
Yeah.
People, I feel like a lot of human interaction is slowly dying. Like people are losing people skills, and it's much easier to type a whole paragraph. Somebody could type you the craziest messages and get in person and have not a word to say.
True.
You know, like
True.
so it's like, you know, you just gotta, again, like that. I don't like meeting people online, by the way. I don't use any other dating apps. I had Tinder years ago and I was like, you know, high school, but Raya, all that, like shout out to, you know, all the homies and shit. But like, I've always just kind of been like real in the field. Like I have to meet somebody out because I have to be able to feel the vibe. Like, you know, all that catfishing shit is out.
No, and I do think like there are so many attractive people in Los Angeles. Like it's not like it is easy to find like some bad girl, right?
For sure.
But the whole thing is like it is a vibe. It is a feeling that you get. It's the energy between two people where you're like, there are people who may have never been interested in each other had they had met on a dating app, but they met in person and it just worked. It clicked immediately.
Yeah. But that is interesting, even just hearing you say that you do want to settle down, you do want those things.
Hell yeah.
Because I think that is a common misconception. Even amongst our girlfriends, they do assume that, you know, men in
don't
your
nobody want to get old and be lonely and shit, man. That's not cool.
No.
Like,
and then when you look at guys, okay, especially because like when I used to see older men coming into the club,
like 40,
I'm like, dude, I'm like, don't you want to like hang out?
Get your ass out of here.
Go find a nice girl.
These girls are in here with fake IDs. Go home.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's like a lot of guys that probably do want that, but I think there's also just in our industry so many that don't, like, you know, and then that was always what was weird to me because I was like, is this fun to you? Like, how long is this fun for? Because to me, I'm like, this gets old.
I can say this though, right? Like, I'm not the dating type. Like, I've only been in 2 relationships in my life. One when I was like 18, out of high school. I dated for like 2 years. And then I dated recently, was in a relationship for like almost a year. It was like 2 years ago. So I'm not really the relation. Like I don't really just date just to date. Like I don't have 10 girlfriends. Like because it's a lot. Like for me, it's spiritual. It's all these different things. Like it's so many layers to me as well as whoever's on the other side. So it's like you don't just learn that in a week or in a day or in a night. It takes time and time and time. Like my ex, we were friends for like 2 years before we dated. No hooking up, nothing. Like we were just friends, and then it just happened. Yeah. So it's like it has to feel like, it has to feel right, not just because the thought of lust, like oh damn, she's what she has or what she looks like that shit is just not it. Yeah. But I feel like too, I did learn a lot from my last relationship too. Like I feel like these are the years of our lives, at least for me personally, right? Where like I have to be selfish with my time right now. Yeah. And it's nobody's fault but mine, And it could be the best thing that ever happened or it could be the destruction of me. I don't know. But I know that this is what I have to do right now. Mm-hmm. And like these are the years that we don't get back. And life is not like it was back in the day where it was like you go to high school, you go to college, you get a job, you find someone, you get married, you have a family, and that's life. Like that's not our life now. Life was figured out for people already in their 20s, the generation before us. Now the 20s is like, is damn near like, okay,
College,
round two. It's like, okay, what am I doing? I got to figure out my life. So it's like
you grow. I always tell people, I'm like, you grow up in your 20s.
100.
Like, you've done high school and you did what you did what you were told by your parents and what like the school system told you or whatever. But then you get in your 20s and it's up to you to like raise yourself.
100%. Yeah.
So you can't, so like, and you're not going to find yourself in someone else. So you have to like, again, that's why I say be selfish. Like these are the years, establish yourself, know what you want to do. You know, you have to, I always tell like my homies and shit this, right? You can't pour from an empty glass. So like, I can't be sitting here trying to love you and you have to love your, like without loving myself, like you have to love yourself before you can love somebody else. I think that's really important. Like,
I think a lot of people in LA need to hear that.
Yeah.
Because that's like the tough one I think they deal with. And I think that's also why a lot of people in our industries especially end up in shallow relationships.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that connection to themselves first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They're looking for like the look of something on social media versus what like the intimacy is between two people who like really love and care about each other.
That shit is important. Like you can't even say you're giving your all to somebody when you don't give yourself your all. And so I feel like for me, like until I feel like I've attained that, like I don't, I'm not here to waste nobody's time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want that, but am I like in a rush or like, no, I'm just letting life happen, because I travel a lot, I'm gone, so it's like, I know in relationships, you have to be able to give time to someone. Like too much time apart creates resentment. You know what I mean? Resentment leads to, oh, you're always gone. I'm lonely. I don't even want to, it's like, it's just so much shit that like, I don't even want to. So I'd rather just avoid it until, I know like, okay.
I guess that's a good point because your job is really like you do travel a lot.
Yeah. And it's not fair. Like I can't be going all the time and it's not, so it's like until I find that balance, which I have not found yet. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I'm working on it, but until I find that, like, I have a lot of friends, but I'm not just running around with my head cut off. Like, who can I, especially too for me, because it's like now dating in my world, it's like a lot of this shit comes with like a lot of girls have intentions now and motives. Like they see guys and they think about, how they can benefit from it, and like, this one up or this it's a good look or and it's like, I'll be damned if I'm not for anybody. Like,
no,
you know
that's
what I
a good
mean?
point. I forget that you guys have to think about things like that.
Yeah. Like you don't really fucking like me. You just saying this shit, but it sounds good. I'm listening. Tell me more. But it's like, do you like me or do you like what you see around me and all this? You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
Yeah, so it's hard. And you're out and you're drunk and you're trying to like make a conscious decision.
For sure.
Yeah, you're like,
how do
I want to
even know
believe
the
this.
difference? Like, how do you find out?
Time.
Yeah.
Time. If you actually like somebody, you'll go hang out with them in normal environments.
True.
You know what I mean? See what they're
not like just being out.
Yeah,
and like
structure.
Whatever.
What does your structure of your day look like? What do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that'd be a little challenging to navigate because I'd be like,
I would also think that's like something that's a tell, and I could be wrong. That would be like if like a girl had something going on for herself for a guy, like right, like
maybe.
My boyfriend always told me, he's like, the big thing for me is that you always had something else for yourself. So I would imagine that like girls who constantly don't have anything going on with their own life and they're just like looking for someone to kind of like take care of them, you can
looking
be
for
like
a daddy.
Yeah. Damn, that would be hard to navigate though, because I would be like looking at everyone sideways.
Yeah.
What do you want?
I fight that a lot too. I always be like, oh, somebody with something going on, but then it's like, if we both busy all the time, who's gonna feel some type of way first? What if it's me? So it's like you don't know. It's just finding what works for you. Like for instance, like Roddy, right? Like I'll use him for an example. Like he's like, yo, I don't want a girl that's got all this shit going on. Like I'd rather somebody that I vibe with that don't have shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't care if you do nothing. I got you.
Yeah.
Like for him, like that's his comfort. He's like, I don't need you busy and I'm trying to get to you.
Well, probably too, because he's really busy, and then at some point if you're both busy, it's hard to spend time together, and then it's like I can understand that.
Whereas like, we used to be like, oh no, I want a girl who got her own, and it's like, so when he told me that, I'm like, okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
For me, see, like, I'm not Roddy. You know what I mean? Like, I need you gotta have a little something going on. Like, just show me something, you know? Like, I always think things work out the best when you don't expect things. And like if you don't expect me to do something for you, it'll make me want to
1,000,000%
go overboard because you don't. If you already expect it, it's like,
no, I agree with that.
You know, like,
we talked about this on an episode, I don't know, 2 episodes ago or something, because it's kind of from the flipped perspective. Women are always like, oh, I want a rich man or a successful man. But then we're like, but do you know what that comes with?
Yes,
exactly.
That comes with, I don't get a lot of quality time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they got
you're
other
gonna
things
be gone
going
a lot.
on.
It's like, you want to be taken care of, but then you don't get to choose.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to choose between like time or you're taken care of.
Yeah.
And I
them
think
persons don't talk back to you.
Right.
and then it was funny because I was even asking one of Man's friends. He was talking about like what he wanted in a girl, and I was like, but he's like, I want someone to have their own stuff going on, but I want this and this and this. And I go, well, you don't get both.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, I'm not offended that if you want someone who stays home, and you don't get someone who's gonna take care of you and be a housewife, but then also isn't like the the player in the game that doesn't do anything. She's just there. So like you have to choose.
It's
which
so
one.
true, because even like I've dated a lot of broke men, and but they were all like, they had all the time in the world to sit around and be obsessed with me.
Yes.
and then you move on, you start dating somebody with a fucking career, and you're like, where the fuck are you? And it's like working. What do you mean?
Like, I had to make money because I took you that really nice dinner last night, remember?
So it is true that you have to pick. Like you can't really always have both.
No, and so it really is something that you like have to think about.
Yeah.
You have this idea of what you want, but when it comes down to it, what is it that you really, really want? You have to get very honest with yourself as you get older, and you're looking for a partner and a significant other to go through life with.
So for me, right now, this we might have a little dialogue here because I have this conversation a lot with one of our partners on our management. Her name's Katie. She's awesome. She's like family to us. But we have this conversation. Like, Katie's very like pro woman, like, nah, fuck that, I'm independent, I'm doing this, like, why should I have to do this? Because I'm, you know what I mean, like, I love her. She's the one that always like rebuttals me on everything, and my logic is a little, I'm all over the place. So so we were having this conversation as to what we're talking about, and it was like, okay, well, if you don't want to do anything, that's fine, but I want to come home to a clean house and some fucking food.
Right, 100%.
And I do not even.
If you're not doing nothing, you just want to. That's
Agreed.
You know what I mean. I'm cool with that. Like everything adds up. So it's like you don't have to have all this shit going on. Some people, and I've learned that some people just want to work and they're cool with just simple. Like, that's fine. You know what I mean. I'm gonna go out and do what I do, but I don't want to come home to shit. I don't want to see nothing. You know.
100%.
I'm not saying that you're obligated to do these things, but like. For me, that's the balance. If I'm going to be doing all this and you just...
But you are obligated, because this is my feeling.
Thank you. Katie, you hear that?
Hold on. And I am also someone, like, I very much love a girl who wants to, like, be forward and like wants to have her own life. I love that. But if you want to, I believe this, and I'm gonna get really nailed for this. I'm sure all over TikTok. Come for me. But I believe that if you want to be a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home girlfriend, and you want someone taking care of you, the partnership in that is that you then take care of the home, and that you are, and that then I believe that the man has to show appreciation, but the woman has to show appreciation for the life that she's able to live as well. That
make
is a
him want to come home,
100%.
like make him want to come home.
I actually don't disagree.
No, I completely agree with that. And then I think on the flip side, it's like, oh, okay, if you want to go have a career, like in my case, I probably won't ever be sitting at home cooking and cleaning, but I'm so down to pay for that. I'm like, I'll pay for that.
Absolutely.
Like,
of course,
I'll put the money up all day. Like,
like,
I'll pay for the housekeeper. I'll pay for the
then that's your partnership dynamic.
Yeah.
So it is everything.
I don't care how it get done.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, I'm so down to throw in.
Absolutely. Like,
to spend money on
then
that.
guess what? Like, then our bills are split. Like, whatever that percentage is.
But you can't, because I do have a friend like this. She wants it paid for and she doesn't want to do it. It's like, you gotta pick something. No, you gotta pick a contribution.
That's not a partnership.
Yeah.
No,
that's not,
exactly.
That's not like you said, you have to pick a contribution. And I do believe that, like, if you're just sitting at home all day, the man's got to pay for everything, and he's got to pay for, like, I'm not cooking dinner. We're going to eat out every single night.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
But
that's
then,
out.
what are you?
Yeah, you got to pick a contribution. 100%. You can't. It doesn't
TikTok
work.
will come for us.
It doesn't work.
No,
this clip goes up on TikTok.
That would be stupid to come for it because it just doesn't work.
No, you got to be real with yourself. Like, a lot of people just aren't real with themselves. And it's like, I learned that fast. And it was like, okay, like, you got to give a little to get a little, you know? Like, 100%. I like to cook a lot personally. So it's like, and this is my thing, right? I feel like, too, a lot of it, like, a lot of this comes down to, like, how you were raised, too. You know, it's, like, very important. Like, I feel like as a woman, women are here, like, you guys are nurtured. You know, you nurture.
Yes,
100%.
By nature, you nurture. And so it's like, those are the things that, like, again, you know, when you ask about, those are the things that make, you know, all this shit is cool, but it's like, I know I'm going home to, you know, if I know I'm going home to everything tightened up and I can't wait, and it's just like, that's the excitement in it. You know, that's what separates outside from settling down with that, you know?
Especially when you don't have to ask for it. I think that's really important too. Because, like, a good dynamic to me is, like, you both want to bring something to the table for each other, you know, and you don't have to fight over it.
Absolutely.
Somebody told me, this girl told me, she was like, yo, well, if they don't do it, then, like, because I'm like, yo, listen, I don't want to ever have to tell you to do that, because that's just it doesn't sit right with me. You know, you're either raised like that or you weren't. So I don't have to tell you to do that. If you don't do it, and that's just not on your mind, you know, then it's like at some point, because then you start to think about, okay, well, this is somebody that I see myself with for a lifetime, having kids with. You know, these are qualities that, like, you know, like, yeah, I can tell you these things, but I wouldn't feel right telling you this. So it's like, over time, separation starts to happen because of the smallest things, you know what I mean? That, like, could have been maybe talked about, but I just feel like, you know, it's just not like.
Well, I think resentment starts to build. You don't want to argue.
Yeah.
It gets draining, you know, after a certain point. But I totally agree with you. Pick your contribution. That is, like, a big step towards a healthy relationship.
It's everything.
You know, and it should be an ebb and flow, honestly. If somebody cooks, you clean. It should be little things like that, too. I mean, that's, like,
for me, it's the littlest shit.
dynamic.
It's not anything major ever. It's the littlest shit.
Yeah.
That, like, okay.
100%.
This is what we doing. I love it.
Okay, so on that note, how we end every episode is with a sexy, which I feel like you did kind of just answer this, but I'm going to ask anyway. So this is, like, something that you find very sexy, and this could be physical, emotional, it could be anything, but it's like, what are you attracted to is really the question, which you did kind of answer, but.
Yeah. Intelligence. Intelligence. Like, I'm a person, like, I'm always seeking, like, knowledge and learning shit. I don't have it all figured out. So it's like, again, it's like, if you're not all of these things, like, you know, pick my mind, like, challenge me on shit, make me think about stuff, you know, not just surface level conversations. Oh, how's your day? How are you doing? Like, no, challenge me on something, you know, like, whatever. It doesn't have to be biblical, school, just anything. Just, you know, like, mentally, like, let's get each other off mentally, you know?
100%.
Because it's character behind that, you know, it's personality in that. And yeah, I just feel like intelligence is, like, all around, you know?
Yeah, no,
like,
I agree with that. I like that. It's an important one. Oh, you're on the right podcast. Smart.
I like that.
Kels?
Mine is, this honestly just kind of came to me, but I think that mine is, like, intimacy that is not, like, has nothing to do with, like, sex. Like, the sexiest thing to me is just having a certain level of intimacy between two partners where it's like you're so in sync and intertwined that you can, like, sit in peace with another person, but that's intimate because it's like you can't do that with very many people where you're just, like, being.
Right.
And so I think intimacy without sex
I like that.
is a big one right now, especially for me.
Yeah.
And where I'm at in my relationship, like, I've reached a new level with Mans where it's like we do a lot of things that are intimate with one another that have nothing to do with sex.
I feel that. It's important. Okay, mine is when you're dating somebody and they take an interest in your friends' lives. Like if you all go out together and then they like actually like make time to ask your friends things or like keep up with your friends. And I've actually dated someone who was like the opposite of this, that like hated all my friends. So like, so now I really know what it's like when somebody hates your friends.
Actually, last night, your mans and I just went and left you and sat at the table and hung out and talked, just the two of us.
And honestly, and that's kind of what brought it up for me too, is I'm like, I really appreciate that. Like, cause that's like so nice to me that you have a dynamic with my close friends. That's like very telling of like, oh, we're a partnership.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to the opposite, which is very awkward for everybody involved. So yeah, mine is when they're friends with your friends. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Keefa, this was great.
This was so good.
I feel like
Love
I got
y'all.
you. I know.
Smart is sexy. Don't ever fucking forget it.
No, seriously, thank you so much for being here. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us on Instagram at Smart as Sexy. You can find us on TikTok and YouTube at Smart as Sexy Pod. We're here
you just
every
took
Wednesday.
all of my lines.
No, what? Don't you have a different one?
No, you literally said both of the things. It's like, okay.
My bad.
Just welcome to Celeste podcast.
We were
I am just like the permanent guest, and she just gonna close out every week.
My bad. I just stole her line. We usually break that up. Do you want to say it? You want to say it again? We can both say it.
No, it's fine. Never mind. They already know where to go.
I gotta start doing it like line after line after each other.
Yeah,
like.
we normally. Well, actually, on that note, speaking of socials, where can they find you?
At Keefa, Keefa. That's me.
Thank you again for being here.
You can find me in the streets. I'm in the field all summer. We outside. Don't be Wesley Snipes and pay your taxes.
Oh, God. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back next week.